Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, what condition my condition was in.
Walter, should the Giants have gone with their same slogan the last 5 years? Nothing like it.
Damn, we're just going right off the rip with that, huh? No, they should have changed it years ago.
That's how we start this podcast, Walter. We always start with a question. I always scream my co-host's name, so it was Steven or Alon, and tonight we got Walter Ikabalseta as we're merging the two podcasts once again. We're calling this thing Rounding Your Third and King Man.
Yes.
As Walter changed his podcast name from Passion for the Pastime to Rounding Third and King.
I did. Yeah. You know what? Actually, Rounding Third and King was something that I wanted to do like years ago. And then when I got the opportunity to do the weekend shows on KMBR, we had a podcast and nobody could think of a name. And I was just like, you know what? This is the name that I have in the back of my mind. I'm just going to throw it out there, Rounding Third and King. So brought it back because it was getting a little dusty. Wanted to bring it back for the 2026 season.
No, I like it. I like it a lot. And it epitomizes your podcast because it's a Giant-centric podcast.
Yes.
And but also we're going to talk a little baseball tonight and say hello to my buddy Alon to say. He's joining me now on Just Your Opinion, man. And both of you guys are excited for baseball, as am I, but not to the same degree that both of you are. Because I do love my baseball, but you guys are crazy about it, especially you, Walter.
I am psychotic. Yes, I'm drafting a fantasy team as we speak. So yeah, I'm a little crazy.
Who are you going? Have you already made your first pick?
I've made my first pick. It was second overall. I went Shohei Ohtani batter. So
okay, Shohei Ohtani batter. Yeah.
You can't
go wrong with that.
It can't go wrong with that. And then I followed it up with Christopher Sanchez from the Phillies.
Okay.
You see, now that's so weird to me. Where like you should be able to get him as a batter and a pitcher.
Some leagues you can. Some leagues it depends. Like I'm in another league where he can be both. So it just depends how you line it up. But yeah, let me see real quick. Sorry, I got to make a pick.
No, it's okay. You're multitasking, and you also got baby duty, maybe literally, going on right now in the background. As we got people in the chat right now, we're merging the two podcasts, Just Your Opinion, man, and Rounding Third and King. And Rocco Nuera asks, "Damn, you guys decided to do this today?" Well, yes, it's the day before the start of the MLB season, so why wouldn't we do this today, Rockin'?
he's just mad because he's at the game right now. I see he's the Sultanes de Monterrey. He's watching.
Yes,
Mexican
Monterrey.
League. Yeah.
Of course, it's always the classic thing the Giants do before they play their season opener is they play Monterrey. Last year,
yeah, dude.
Last year, it was, of course, that rivalry they had. They have in spring training against the Detroit Tigers. So of course we're always going to have that. I just don't understand why we can't have the Giants and A's play in spring training. I
do miss those. I mean, Elaine, you remember going out to the ballparks?
Oh yeah, no, of course,
for the Battle of the Bay right before the season starts. I mean, that was electric atmosphere.
It was very much that same kind of atmosphere you used to get back in the NFL when you'd have Raiders-Niners preseason kind of deal. But instead, it's spring training, so
less stabbings though. Less stabbings.
Well, yeah, no. So the atmosphere wasn't quite the same. But yeah, less of that. But no, it was still fun, and I miss it. I know that it's sad that we don't have that Battle of the Bay trophy anymore either, and that's actually just been rebranded. I don't know if you saw this, Walter, but it's got rebranded between the Ballers and the San Jose Giants.
I did actually. I saw a post.
Oh, wow.
I saw a post. I think it was earlier today that they were promoting it because I think they're facing off this week, right, or next week or something like that. Yeah, I did see it. Yeah.
1 week. So what they did was they took the trophy. It's still the same trophy. They renamed it, and then obviously they got different logos now. So it's the SJ for San Jose, and then there's the big B for the Oakland Ballers. So they're actually going to play in a week, and
nice.
that'll be interesting. I mean, an indie ball team. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. You got to keep the Battle of the Bay alive somehow. So if that's the way that they do it, I mean, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Battle of the Bay 2.1, they're calling it.
Yeah, nice.
Somehow, some way, and let's be honest, Walter, all those stabbings came from 49ers fans. Yeah. So let's talk about The start of the regular season, and the Giants are playing tomorrow night. The real debut, the regular season debut of Tony Vitello as manager, facing off against the Yankees. And funny enough, this will be the second time in what, Walter, 3 seasons or 4 seasons that they've taken on the New York Yankees. Remember a couple years ago, it has to be 4 seasons because I think Gabe Kapler was still manager of the team at the time. And this was right after Arson Judge, that whole thing of that offseason. They face off against the Giants, and sure enough, Logan Webb takes him yard, I think, twice in that game. And we get a rematch on opening night at Oracle Park. How do you guys feel about this? Because I know you guys both are baseball traditionalists, and I grew up my whole life with the A's starting their home opener at night, whether it was, Sonny Gray almost pitching a no-hitter against the White Sox or the Angels. And traditionally, it's always been where the Giants take on a National League team. They don't take on the likes of the Yankees in interleague play this early in the season. Not to mention it's on Netflix. And we talk about how regional baseball is. We love hearing our local broadcasters, Kruk and Kite, but you can hear them on KMBR, the sports leader, but you're going to have to watch Matt Vasgersian. Not like that's a bad thing by any means, but watching Matt Vasgersian and that whole broadcast, we'll get to it later, of the craziness they got going on. But what do you both of you guys think about the kind of the NFL-like open to the MLB regular season involving the Giants and the Yankees? Walter, you go first.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't mind it. You know what I mean? Like, it is a showcase for the start of the season. It's very NFL-esque, right? Yes. I mean, it's one game to start it off. Now, my only thing that I would prefer to have is if they had like a East Coast game and a West Coast game, maybe even a Midwest game to flip in there, so that it's kind of a three-way, a triple header,
a good old
so
three-way.
Hell yeah, dude, you know that. But yeah, no, I mean the Yankees coming in, historic franchise, obviously 27 World Series titles. You got the Giants on the West Coast. I mean, ideally, I would have wanted it to be the Dodgers. I mean, if we're talking NFL-esque, it should be the champion starting off the season, but. Anyways, I mean, just with the Giants taking on the Yankees, I'm for it. I mean, just for it to kick off the start of the regular season and for the Giants to have their own nights with the Yankees. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. So I'm all for it.
Alon, what do you think? Do you think it should be well, first off, what do you think about this NFL style open to the season with the Yankees and Giants on Netflix? And you think do you think the Giants should be involved in this game?
I mean, I don't know. I've thought about it. I mean, I'm happy for the Giants. I think it's phenomenal that the Giants get to be on that stage after what they've made the postseason once in about the last 8 years. Is that
10
is that
years?
about,
10 years,
9 years going on. Depends what happens this season, but it could be 10, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big stage for a team that has had one fluke postseason appearance, and that was 5 years ago now. So interesting choice. That being said, I think it's phenomenal for them. I think it's going to be great. Well, I was going to say television, but it's on streaming.
It's television.
It is, but I think this would be so much bigger, and maybe this is me just being an old man, but I think it would be bigger if it was on national, broadcast rather than streaming platform. I don't know how many people are, what that crossover is between all the people who are going to be on Netflix and then want to go watch it. On Netflix. Are you going to watch it at home? How are you going to watch it at the bar? All that kind of stuff. Like, how's that going to work? So I do have an issue with the Netflix type deal, but I'm with Walter on this. I think it's a really good move by Major League Baseball. And I think it makes sense, especially this year. And this could have been something not with these two teams specifically together, but this could have been an idea that maybe they were hatching up 3 years ago after the WBC, because they have such good momentum coming into this season now after a World Baseball Classic that did amazing. So I think this is just them being like, baseball is here, and this is kind of going to be the biggest season ever. Whether that's true or not, that's kind of how they're positioning it. So I think it's a good idea. I'm a fan.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's inevitable. I think that we're going in this direction in sports media where we're going to have streaming, and you're going to see it a little bit more this year where Sunday Night Baseball is going to be on NBC/Peacock with Bob Costas back on the pregame show, and that's fun. NBC doing a lot of nostalgia this year with having basketball back on and now baseball. But yeah, I think that NFL fans are used to this with having Netflix and Peacock and Amazon Prime associated with all their broadcasts, and baseball wants to jump on the bandwagon. Like we heard today, Rob Manfred went on with Murph and Marcus and talked about this is where sports is going. It's going to be on streaming. It's inevitable that eventually we will get away from all of our cable packages, and we still got YouTube TV, but eventually it will be all streaming. So as long as we're ready for that, and I get it, like if you go to a sports bar, it's a pain in the ass for that establishment to get Netflix on all those TVs. But you gotta roll with the kind of go with the flow, roll with the time. So it's not going to change. This will be increased. I know that this year Netflix is doing this opener game. They're also doing the Field of Dreams game. So this is just going to happen more and more. And I agree. Like Bob Costas came on our show the other day and said that he would love give the opportunity to the local broadcasters be a part of that broadcast. I think they're trying to incorporate that a little bit tomorrow with having Hunter Pence and Anthony Rizzo on the broadcast. But really, people want to hear Dwayne Kuiper and Mike Krukow. So maybe there's a way where you get the alternative feeds and whatnot. But
they used to do that on Apple, right? You can get the
Yes.
The alternate broadcast. So I mean, I would like to see that. Just logistically, what you were talking about with the bars, because I was thinking about that for NFL when all the streaming stuff started happening. I'm just like, dude, how am I going to go to a bar to watch it? So how is that going to happen logistically? Because you can't password stream or password share with Netflix. So I mean, how is that going to happen with multiple TVs in a bar? Like, are they going to have like 7 accounts? Like, how the hell does that work?
I'm not sure, and I can't imagine what it's going to be like because every San Francisco bar tomorrow is going to want this game on. And
oh yeah, for sure.
So I think it's where I don't know. Like I know for Amazon Prime, the way that sports bars are able to get it up in their establishments is they have something through DirecTV where if you own a brick and mortar, then you're able to have this package where you can also have the streaming channels. Like we had that back at the old studio, Walter, where we were able to watch Amazon Prime on TV. I don't know if that's the case with Netflix, so we'll see if that happens. And by the way, I am incorrect. The Giants have made the postseason twice in the last 10 years. So it was 2016 where they lost to the Cubs in the second round, and then of course in 2021 when they lost to the Dodgers. So
I mean, the fact that we're talking about 2 times in the past 10 years is just it's comical. Anyways,
I know, and we'll get to the expectations this season for Tony Vitello and gang, and we want to hear from you guys also in the chat tonight. Just your opinions, chat. Leave your takes, leave everything in the chat, and I will get to it. You see, Rockin'? I'm acknowledging the chat. Okay, aren't you happy? But I want to get your thoughts, Walter, on the news that just came out about an hour ago. Roster cuts are coming down with the Giants. We'll get probably the final roster by tonight, and everything's kind of settling in. We'll see what happens with the bullpen and the entire roster, but kind of a surprise with Bryce Eldridge being sent down. We thought that it was going to be Gerard Encarnacion and Luis Matos, and not the case for Luis Matos. He's going to be waived. His time as a Giant is no more, and they're going with Jared. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Oliva, my bad. Oliva. So what's your thoughts on this guy? He was a long shot to make the team when spring training started, but now he's going to be part of the mix.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. And you know, I am a little not disappointed. I was rooting for Luis Matos, not this year in particularly, but in the past. I wanted him to be kind of one of those focal points. And then he had one of those amazing runs. He got really hot. Unfortunately, it was against the Rockies, and most of it was in Colorado. But he went on a tear, just hitting home runs left and right. So I believed in him a couple of years ago. Now you fast forward now, I'm just like, you know what? I don't need to see Luis Matos. And I was a little bit upset just going back to the Bryce Eldridge conundrum of the roster churn. I was a little bit upset in that we're going to get Luis Matos instead of Bryce Eldridge. Like, come on, man. I know what Luis Matos can do. I don't need that. I don't need that on the squad for the 26 man for opening day. And then you go see that he starts hitting home runs left and right as soon as he is told that he's not on the roster anymore. He hits one in Sacramento and hits one last night. I believe he's in the lineup tonight, but I haven't checked what the lineup is. But
I don't believe so, but I'll double check here.
But just going back to Jared Oliva, he's a guy that I actually thought that they were going to go with Will Brennan, who was a left-hander, which now you look at Oliva, he's a righty, so they have a predominantly, I think it's only righties on the bench when you start thinking about it with Daniel Susac, who's the backup catcher, Casey Schmidt, who's also a righty, and Christian Koss is also a righty as well. So then you throw Oliva in there. It's all righties. They don't have any mixed match of availability. So I thought that they were going to go with Will Brennan in that regard, but they kind of bring the same aspect in that he's a good fielder. He could be a defensive replacement for Jung Hoo Lee or Elliot Ramos late in the games. And he has a lot of speed. That's also something that Will Brennan brought. So when you look at this lineup, just what it looks to be on opening day, there isn't a lot of speed. Your stolen bases are probably coming from Matt Chapman, and that's not really a good thing. You know what I mean? I mean, Jung Hoo Lee has last year he had aspirations of getting 30 stolen bases, but that hasn't proven to be part of his game yet. Can it turn into that in 2026? It could. He has the speed, but it's not all just about speed. It's all about anticipation. It's all about how you get a jump off of the pitcher and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot that goes into stolen bases. But as far as just pure speed, Oliva brings that, and I think that he'll be a late inning replacement. Late in games, and if they need to swipe a bag here or there, that's your guy, because the lineup just doesn't have it.
Yeah, I remember a year ago we were talking about, the Giants haven't had, was it, I think a guy that stole 30 bases in a single season since Dave Roberts back in the day. If I'm correct about that one. And Tyler Fitzgerald was talking about that's a goal of his, along with Jung Hoo Lee. And now it's like, well, I don't know who's going to do that on the team. Maybe these guys are utility guys, and Christian Koss and Tyler Fitzgerald, but we'll see. But I don't know much about Jared Oliva.
Oliva.
Yep. Jared Oliva. And I want to guess that he made the roster. I got to be honest, I wasn't paying a ton of attention in spring training.
Sure, yeah.
But
why should you? Yeah.
Well,
he's a 26 man on the roster. He's a 26 man on the roster. I mean, we're talking about him, but I mean, he's a 26 man on the roster. He's not going to have too much impact.
But I think some fans are going to be like, wow, this is not this simplistic, but like, wow, we're picking that guy over Bryce Eldridge. And it's not that case. I know that some fans the last 2 days have been like, wow, they send this guy down and right away he hits home runs against the Giants on Sunday night and last night. And my thing is, well, that's bound to happen when pressure's off. Like, if you listen to the comments that he told Shayna Rubin, he was kind of, he was kind of like dealing with a lot in the back of his head, dealing with the injury earlier in spring training, or I guess the offseason when he had the wrist injury. But yeah, he was pressing a little bit, and he made the comment to Shayna about how he needed a better attitude in the box. And let's be honest here, Bryce Eldridge has a ton of potential. He's very young too, only 21 years old. He struck out 19 times in spring training, and I know there's a ton of potential there with the power, but I don't want to I don't think it's the best course of action to rush this thing. And I think that Buster Posey, everybody trusts Buster Posey. I totally get it. He could do no wrong. That's why people have faith in Tony Vitello. Should have the same thought process, in my opinion, when it comes to Bryce Eldridge, because he's having the same path that Buster had as a player himself, being called up late at the end of a season and then being called up later the next season. So he'll be called up. It's only a matter of time. And I know that people have already seen Gerard Encarnacion and Luis Matos. That was my mentality a couple weeks ago, where I was like, if I want this team to be entertaining, I want to see Bryce Eldridge. Like, Buster Posey's motto a year ago with Murph and Marcus after they acquired Rafael Devers, it's time to go. It's time to go. Let's see this kid. But I think there's a time and place, and I think that he needs to show a little more confidence. In the last 2 nights he has, but let's see how consistent it is. So I know some fans are like, what the hell? What are we doing here? We're not going to have our young prospect, our phenom up. And I'm like, just give it time. It's a long season, and eventually give it a month. I think the latest June, he will be called up for the San Francisco Giants.
I was going to kind of echo that same thing, Derek. So you brought up a bunch of stuff, Walter. Bryce Eldridge, the first thing is I want to know, when do you think that first legitimate call-up happens? And I know the big headline is, hits his first his first home run in a major league stadium. Yeah, it's in Sacramento. But, I mean, anyway, so, yes, technically he does. But he's still so young, needs more seasoning for sure. But, I mean, is this a decision that is in any way record based? I mean, is this something that the team does, like if they're around 500 in June or slightly above, slightly below, and then they're like, okay, let's call up Bryce Eldridge? Or could this be a thing where they have do you think they have a plan around that time, like late May, late June-ish, kind of to bring him in just as a rotational player over there at first?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting to look at what the Giants could potentially do with Bryce Eldridge because I think it's going to be performance based. I don't think it's based on the team. I think it's going to be based on himself. Because here's the thing: in spring, you guys talk about Derek mentioned 19 strikeouts, right? He had 40 ABs, 19 strikeouts. That's a huge tick. That's way too much. But I do think that strikeouts are going to be part of his game just because of his build. He's naturally, I mean, he's taller. He has a bigger strike zone. His swing path is a lot smaller, so maybe he can, cut out the strikeouts a little bit more with a little bit more seasoning in Sacramento, right? So, but one thing that I would say in spring training is that he had, I think it was 9 hits, right? He had 9 hits. Of those 9 hits, 6 of them were for extra bases, and that's not including the exhibition in Sacramento and last night in San Francisco. So if you put that together, you got a home run there, you got another home run, and I believe a double. So then you start adding up the extra base hit possibility for Bryce Eldridge. He has that plays at the big league level. So when he goes to Sacramento, we know that it's a hitter's league, right? So I think it's not only going to be indicative of how he does at the plate with his plate discipline, but it's also going to be indicative of how well he does defensively, right? I think that's the main thing that he's going down to Sacramento to work on, because you're not going to send a guy of his caliber to Sacramento to hit dingers or I mean, work on the strike zone, of course. But if we're just going to look at his power numbers in Sacramento, he'll be up here in 2 weeks. So I think that there's going to be a lot of evaluation when it comes to Bryce Eldridge. But again, I think that it's performance based, what he does at the plate, what he does with his strikeout numbers, and how he does with the glove at first base. Because one thing that what Derek was talking about is this is Buster Posey. This is a different regime, right? And this decision, it screams that. It says that this is the way that things are going to be done is going to be different now. Now, what I mean by that is that there isn't going to be a yo-yo of Bryce Eldridge. I think that when Bryce Eldridge comes to Oracle Park or comes to the big leagues to join the Giants, that he will be here to stay, and the Giants are trying to make that a possibility and trying to give him as much wiggle room and as much growth in the meantime until that happens. So, like I said, a regime change. If this was Farhan, if Farhan was running this team, Bryce Eldridge would be on the opening day roster 100%. In my heart, I believe that. So Buster Posey being there and kind of protecting Bryce Eldridge a little bit, I think is a little reassuring that this regime is going to take care of their top prospect, and they're not going to kind of feed him to the wolves, so to speak.
I think I agree with that. I think they got to let him season. They have to let him develop. Do not just throw him out there and do all. If he does great and that's potentially what you're missing when he right out of the gate, then that sucks. Yeah. But it's way better to be conservative in that situation. I completely agree with that. Sticking on the young players and kind of bringing up Posey, best catcher, all this kind of stuff was amazing in college. They have a hell of a catcher on the roster currently in Daniel Susac, but he's behind Bailey. And I understand all the defensive value that Bailey brings. I get it. All the extra outs. I mean, he's best defender in terms of extra outs and things like that in Major League Baseball. But Susac can swing the freaking bat. I had the pleasure of, I had the pleasure of getting to broadcast some of his games when he was playing up in Lincoln during summer ball about 4 or 5 years ago. And then I saw him play live here in Las Vegas in the minors. What does his role look like going forward? Because I think he's very special, and it's no offense to Patrick Bailey, but Susac can hit. Susac has that as the tool that can, he can send the ball out of the ballpark. And I think that's super important for this team, a team that hasn't had a 30 home run hitter in 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, when you look to Susac, it makes it really interesting, and not just Susac and them acquiring him from the Rule 5 draft, because as you know, with that acquisition, he has to be on the roster for 2026, the entire season, or you suffer or you sacrifice a draft pick, right? So he's going to be there. He's going to be the backup guy. I would be surprised if he wasn't. He's going to be the every third day for Patrick Bailey. He's going to give him a rest. Day after night, he'll probably be in there. But what's really interesting is not only that pickup, but was the pickup last year at the trade deadline with Jesus Gonzalez, right? And it's kind of a little bit of writing on the wall in my opinion. I feel like it's writing on the wall in that Buster Posey wants a little bit more out of his starting catcher. Right. Yeah. It's not enough to just be, and we're talking about a Gold Glove caliber guy, right? I mean, he has a new beer out with Fieldwork called a Strike Thief. You know what I mean? Like you don't just get those type of nicknames if you're not good. 2-time Gold Glover. He's incredible with what he does defensively, but you can't be a net zero at the batter's box. You can't be a net zero, especially with how last year with the lineup, how it was. You can, if you have, multiple guys hitting 30 home runs and do they have that capability on this offense? I don't know. I mean, there's a couple of fringe guys that can maybe do that. You could probably get that with Devers and probably with Willie Adames. Can Matt Chapman do that? Can Elliot Ramos do that? I don't know. That might be a big ask. But going back to Patrick Bailey, you can't be a net zero. So it's just, I feel like Buster Posey is kind of gearing up for what is next after Patrick Bailey. And if the Giants come out of the gate just a dud and they get into the trade deadline time and they're a couple games below 500, don't be surprised if Patrick Bailey is dealt at the trade deadline.
Wow. Well, I mean, I think he brings a lot of value as far as a catcher playing the position, but offensively, he leaves a lot to be desired. But to the point you guys were making, this offense needs a 30 home run hitter, and last year they did have one along and Willie Adames, but maybe this
I corrected myself there. He barely got it, Derek.
All good. I fuck up Giants stats all the time, but this year they might have two. And the expectation is Rafael Devers should be a 30 home run hitter, and our guy John Dickinson thinks that Casey Schmidt could be a 20 home run hitter. I don't know about that. But we'll see. We'll see if he could do that. And Casey Schmidt also thought that Matt Chapman could hit 30 home runs. I don't know about that either. But that's the point. Like, this offense is so much better than a year ago. Like, they're not going to go through lulls, hopefully, like they did a year ago. You remember this, Walt, where they went from May to June, 17 straight games where they didn't score more than 5 runs.
So bad. Yeah.
It was insane. But I
so bad.
That cannot happen this year. With this lineup and their expectations, they cannot have that. Where you can maybe hide the deficiencies of a Patrick Bailey when you bat him 9th in that lineup. But let's get to the expectations, Walt. What do you think about this Giants team, their expectations for this season? Did they do enough this offseason, or do we relate things too much to what the Dodgers do?
Ooh, yeah. If you're constantly throwing yourself up against the Dodgers, that's a game you're going to always lose. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to look at, well, what can they possibly do? I think right now with where they are in the division, I mean, the expectation should be postseason, but I think that's even a little too high for this team, because I feel like the Giants didn't address what they needed to do. And that's why I was a little taken aback when I saw how the winter meetings in the offseason went for the Giants, because what did Buster Posey do his first winter? Saw the need, went and got it. Case closed. It's over. You got Willie Adames. You needed a shortstop. You got Willie Adames, the best guy that was out there, and sign him to a massive deal, right? And then you fast forward to the to last season, and we needed power. They needed some thump, and they go and add Rafael Devers. Buster Posey is a guy that goes out and sees the need and addresses it. So going into this past winter, I thought that the Giants were going to go heavy in the starting rotation because they just didn't have the arms. They don't have the horses, in my opinion. I thought they were going to maybe go get Tatsuya Imai. I thought that it was a high possibility that they were going to get Framber Valdez. Hell, I would have taken Zach Gallen or probably even Max Scherzer. Like, they needed another starter. Adrian Hauser, Tyler Mahle, they're decent, and maybe they can surprise me. But I think that there's a lot less to be desired with the Giants. So my expectations going into 2026 is finish five. Can you finish 5 games above 500? Like, can you finish at 86 wins? I know that's probably too low to be a playoff team, but I just want to see incremental improvement and momentum for the future, because we do have Bryce Eldridge coming up.
Right.
So maybe that's why the Giants didn't necessarily go out there and blow their wad this winter, and they're gearing up for next winter. I haven't looked at the free agents. I don't know if you guys have this readily available. I know that this past year's free agent class wasn't too impressive, and I would be curious to see who is coming out next year, if there is something to align for the Giants, and maybe that's why they were a little bit shy with the checkbook this past winter.
Well, do we even know if we're playing baseball next year?
No, well, that's another thing too. That's that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, no, 100%. That could also have played a factor as well as to why they weren't signing players. I know a lot of teams were kind of operating under the notion that there's going to be a lockout next year. So
yeah, the free agent class next year is pretty impressive. Anthony Rendon, Tarek Skubal, George Springer, Sonny Gray, Zach Gallen, Kevin Gosman. There are some pitchers available. Chris Bassett.
I can see Gosman coming back. Yeah, I can see that 100%.
Well, of course, at this point in his career, he's only signing 1 year 1 year contracts. But yeah, I mean, Walt, I hear you. Like today, we were talking about the expectations, and heard JD talking about it on the midday show, where should they expect to finish second in the NL West, and should that be their goal? That should be their goal. But expectation, that might be a little bit much. I know some people might think that the Padres take a step back with Dylan Cease leaving, and the Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks got better this offseason, so I don't know if they should. Giants fans should have the confidence that they're automatically going to leapfrog them. The Padres still have a ton of talent on that team. Let's be honest with and Machado, but I think that we're gonna get to Tony Vitello and everything with him this season, but I don't think they get a pass just because they have him as manager and he's learning this brand new job. And it's going to be brand new to him, and he's going to face a lot of criticism, not only locally here, but nationally. I think he's one of the more intriguing storylines of baseball, where it's just something we never seen before. And him being a guy that, very, obviously big with the college ranks and never having any experience at the major league level. But just because you have that doesn't mean that you get a pass on this Giants season. And people have been waiting. And we said it. It's been 10 years. They've only had two playoff appearances. The last 4 or 5 years since the 107 win season, it's been mediocrity. Like we make fun of the slogan, like Giants nothing, Giants baseball, nothing like it. But it's been the same thing every year. It's been 81 and
Giants
81.
baseball 500 again. Like that should be their new slogan. 500.
Exactly. It baffles me they went back with the same slogan when it's just been the same deal the last 4 or 5 fucking years here. But I do think that Giants fans should have expectations of postseason, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Where they improved offensively. I like the Luis Ariz move to get a good leadoff hitter there, a guy that had close to 200 hits a season ago. Harrison Bader to shore up center field. The pitching, I have no idea about. I don't know Tyler Mahle. I don't know Adrian Hauser. And the bullpen has been the weakest it's been in quite some time. So those are the things where I'm like, yes, the offense got better, but I have huge question marks defensively. Well, that's never been the case in recent years.
You mentioned the defensive question marks, and that's actually, like, I think one of the biggest stories coming into the year is people are wondering, like, what Luis Ariz is going to look like defensively, and I don't know. Dude, Ron Washington's on the staff. I think they're going to be fine up the middle. Yeah. And I think the outfield will be fine too. I don't think defensively is going to be a tough task for this team. I think one of the biggest, you pointed it out earlier, Walter, with the speed issue. I think that might end up being one of the biggest issues for this team, especially with Tony Vitello, like you mentioned, Derek, like no experience, then coming, even though super successful in college over at Tennessee, and he's passionate about good base running. I don't know what they're going to do with the speed problem they have. That's a massive flaw for this team, I think. And they were not good on the base paths in terms of stealing last year. I think defensively they're going to be just fine. Arias included.
Yeah, I think last year, weren't they the last team to record, or was that the year before? They were the last team to record a stolen base. Wasn't that last year? Or was that 2027 or 2024?
That might have been last year, but I don't know. That I mean that does probably check, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Point
about that
is, I don't think that it's gotten better.
Yeah,
so Elaine, you're 100% on that, man. I mean, if we're looking at deficiencies with the 2026 Giants, I think that base running is at the top of the list. But what Derek was talking about too, the bullpen, right? I mean, I was actually kind of shocked with some of the decisions that they ended up going with. I'm surprised that they didn't go with Joey Lucchesi. I'm surprised that they didn't go with Michael Fulmer, right? Some veteran presence in the bullpen that they had out there battling it out in camp. So they have a relatively younger bullpen, unproven bullpen. Now that can go one of two ways. You can show up and surprise the world of baseball and be really effective, or it could be just terrible. So yeah, man, I mean, the bullpen, the lack of speed on this team, but going back to what you were talking about, Elaine, with Luis Ariz, a lot of people, and I was really surprised at this, but a lot of Giants fans were upset at the signing, in that, you're right, like a lot of people were upset at the signing because what he can't do for you, right? There's a big bugaboo with his defense, right? That's been noted for years. He if he gets on base, which he does a lot, he clogs up the bases. Like, he doesn't have a lot of speed. So I understand all of that, but this guy puts the ball in play. And something that people don't talk about enough is when he went over to San Diego, they were a team that lacked leadership. And everyone talks about, Logan Webb and Matt Chapman and all these leaders in the Giants clubhouse. Luis Ariz coming over and being kind of that veteran presence that this young, or not young core, but this core of Latin players needs. Like him with Elliot Ramos, I think can be a wonderful thing there, right? Him with Willie Adames and Rafael Devers. I just think that adding him to this lineup, like, San Diego got better with putting the ball in play when he got there. I don't think that was a coincidence. So I can see the offense being the strength of this team. And quite frankly, I think it might have to be because of the deficiencies that we were talking about with the lack of stealing and speed on the base pads. You're going to have to hit to do that, right? And the pitching and the bullpen, I do think lack the capability of being an effective major league staff. So the offense is going to have to improve. But Luis Ariz, as you mentioned, working with Ron Washington, I think that he's going to be fine. I think, we're not going to get Gold Glove, right? We're not going to get that. We might even get, we might not even get above average defense, but we'll probably get average defense. And I think that that's going to be okay for Luis Ariz with what he can do offensively.
Yeah. Like I said, I think he's going to be just fine with Ron Washington. The first example that popped into my mind, first of all, no one should complain about that signing. You're getting a multi-time batting champ. The guy knows how to put the ball in. It's the most important thing you can do in baseball is hit the ball. It's also the hardest thing to do. But Marcus Semien, that was the first guy that came to my mind. Horrible up the middle. He was not good.
Yeah.
He was good. Who fixed him? And turned him into a very good defender? It was Ron Washington. So I think this thing defensively with Ariz is overblown. Back to what Derek's point was regarding the bullpen. I wanted to ask you this, Walter, and Derek, obviously for you too. Don't you think that's a position maybe the Giants will either have call-ups and or add to maybe as the season rolls on, especially if they are competitive? Like Derek said, they should be aiming for that second. I mean, they should want to be first in the division, but that's going to be very hard with the
that's not realistic. Let's be honest.
It's not realistic. No, you're totally right. But what I'm saying, everybody should want to do that. It's not realistic. But do you think that's something that they do if they realize, okay, maybe it's not bad, but we can add to it and make it a position of strength? Is that something they do during the season?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, the bullpen. So what's really interesting with bullpen construction is that it's a it's a living organism. You know what I mean? Like it's ever evolutionary through the 2026 season. It's never people don't have the same roles that you have at opening day that you have going into October. You know what I mean? Like it always changes. Just going through the title years for the Giants, started the years at some point with Santiago Casilla, and then it ended up being Sergio Romo, and it just kind of kept kind of filtering through. So bullpens always change, and a good thing to have and a good thing to fix it outside of trading for it, because you could always add a arm. I mean, that's one of the most coveted things when it comes to the trade deadline is to improve your bullpen, especially for playoff teams. But one of the easy fixes for it is to have arms in the arsenal in the minor leagues. And I do think that the Giants do have that. Trevor McDonald came in there last year. He more profiles as a starter, right? But I think that he's somebody that can come in there and be effective. I think Keaton Wynn, I don't know if he's going to make the opening day roster, if that's been announced yet or not. But Keaton Wynn, I think, is also another guy, again, profiles as a starter, but he can go out there and he can be effective. Spencer Bivens, I thought he did a great job last year. He's not going to be on the opening day roster this year, but they have guys, you know what I mean? I guess that's the point, is that they have arms in the minor leagues. Even I believe Gregory Soto, that was once a closer, I believe, for the Tigers a couple of years ago. He's somebody that again was sent back down to minor league camp. So they have arms, and again, you just kind of have to ride the hot hand. But the big question is going back to the manager, is going back to Tony Vitello, because I know baseball now is a very different game than what it was 10, 15 years ago when it comes to managing a bullpen. Everyone looks at the master class of what of what Bruce Bochy did in the championship years. Now it's a little bit more of a simplified managing of bullpens when it comes to the manager, right? Because you don't have to play the matchups, so to speak. You have to have the 3-batter minimum and all that kind of stuff. So you have to have guys in the bullpen that can get both sides of the plate out. That's just a requirement in today's game. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they end up doing with the bullpen. But I do think that they have the arms in the minor leagues. And I think that they have excess at other positions that they can trade should it come down to it.
Yeah, I mean, Walter put it better than I could. Like at this point, they have options when it comes to the bullpen. I mean, everybody that we mentioned, we just mentioned Jose Buto or Keaton Wynn. Like they have names, and the only ones that we can say are certainties at this point are going to be where Ryan Walker's your closer, Eric Miller, and who's the new guy, Ryan Borucki. Like they all will be involved, but they do have options. Like we keep bringing up, actually, Kerry Crowley brought this up a couple of weeks ago, where could you move a Casey Schmidt to go get an arm, go get somebody in the bullpen? Could you move an Elliot Ramos if he's not cutting it at left field and you replace him with a Drew Gilbert? That's on the table. And that leads me to the question of who's got the most pressure on them this season. So obviously it's going to be the manager, because he's, going to be talked about and going to be questioned and criticized, but we'll get to him a little later. As far as the players on the roster, I brought this up at Copes today, where I think, like, obviously every year Logan Webb's going to have pressure on him because he's the ace, he's the leader. But it's the same kind of pressure that starting quarterbacks have, where it's like, yeah, they have pressure on them, but are they like in jeopardy of losing their jobs? No. So yes, Logan Webb needs to be that guy, with the starting rotation not the same. And who's to say that Robbie Ray's that guy? Maybe it's where Logan Webb has to do a little bit more this season. Does Rafael Devers have to be the reason, the catalyst for the Giants' success this season, where, it's all predicated on him? Same thing with Willie Adames and Matt Chapman. Even though they're not the main guy, that's going to be Devers. Do those guys need to, be the guys that we expect when the Giants pay them that amount of money? To me, the guys that have the most pressure on them are Jung-Hoo Lee and Elliot Ramos. Because Ramos, we saw it a year ago, he definitely had terrible moments in left field, not a good defender at times. He kind of fades in the latter portion of seasons. Had an all-star season a couple years ago, but didn't finish strong a year ago. And I know you remember this, Walter. He did call out the fans. There was a whole thing with Bob Melvin and not having support, and then he called him out. I think it was an interview with, I want to say John Shea, but I can't remember exactly who the article was with. But that's a guy that you could move. The same thing with, Jung-Hoo Lee, where both guys were not, signed by Buster Posey. Jung-Hoo Lee was kind of replaced twice this offseason with getting Luis Arraez and a true leadoff hitter, and now he's going to be in the latter portion of the lineup. Not to mention, he's no longer the center fielder, which is not that big of a deal. But when you move somebody, out of their position to right field, again, Buster Posey is not indebted to Jung-Hoo Lee by signing him to that contract. And it's a hard contract to move, but could it be where he sees and this is not the guy that we expected? So those would be my two biggest guys as far as pressure on them this season, along with Ryan Walker, as a year ago we saw him give up leads in games. So what do you think, Walter, as far as players that have pressure on them this season?
Yeah, I mean, you listed two that, I mean, they need to produce. Elliot Ramos and Jung-Hoo Lee. I would probably lean more towards Jung-Hoo Lee just for the what you drew up there. Is he's already kind of been replaced. Is you got somebody that can put the ball in play. They were trying to have him be the leadoff hitter. That wasn't good enough, or he wasn't able to do that at a consistent tick. So what do? They go get Luis Arraez, right? He couldn't play center field. What do? They go get Harrison Bader. So I feel like he has a lot of pressure on him this year, especially, I mean, you can throw as much pressure as you want on Elliot Ramos. He's not making the millions. You know what I mean? He's not making the dollar amount that Jung-Hoo Lee is making. So when you look at the dollar amount and what he was expected to do, but also I kind of feel for Jung-Hoo Lee in the sense that he has a little bit of an uphill climb, in my opinion, because of the reason that you said. He's not a Buster Posey guy, right? We saw how Farhan went about Joey Bart, right? And in favor of Patrick Bailey, because he wasn't a Farhan guy. Bailey was, right? So, you kind of hope that there isn't favoritism and all that kind of stuff, but the fact of the matter is you're gonna speak louder for your guys, and Jung-Hoo Lee just isn't a guy for the current regime. So I would say the biggest pressure is on Jung-Hoo Lee, because if he doesn't produce, he can find himself off of this lineup and off of this team at some point, and maybe out of the big leagues. So I would say that the biggest pressure of the current roster would be Jung-Hoo Lee, but my little extra bonus answer would be biggest pressure. Bryce Eldridge, I think, has a lot of pressure right now. I know it doesn't feel like it because he's going to be in Sacramento, but he has a taste of it. He wants to be on the major league roster, and I feel like that's gonna eat at him being in AAA. That's why, with him getting called up last year and going into spring training, I thought that he was going to make the opening day roster for those reasons, because you'd never want to call up a guy. And I know it was a late season call up last year, but you never want to call up a guy and then not give him the opportunity, because that messes with your confidence. It messes with your psyche. So I think that that's going to be a lot of pressure put on him. And quite frankly, looking at the offense, it's supposed to be good, but if it's not, and they call upon Bryce Eldridge for one of those reasons that Elaine was asking about earlier, is, what is the perfect scenario for Bryce Eldridge to come up? Maybe he is called upon to be that savior. Then that adds a whole nother level of pressure.
So kind of that same question that Derek asked, and I know we're talking about guys in the lineup here, but let's just look at the starting rotation, right? Out of those five guys that we think are going to be, the mainstays for most of the season, which one of those guys is facing the most pressure? Is it, maybe like a Hauser, or is it, do you think it's on the ace Webb, or who would you put that on? Because I know what I'm going to get out of some of the guys, but I want to know what the consistency is maybe going to look like. And we mentioned the bullpen earlier. If they end up having a very good starting, five, a really good rotation, then that takes a lot of pressure off of them to not only go move assets for extra arms, but also of calling guys up early.
Yeah, I mean, the starting rotation, it's very interesting because you have a lot of guys that are aiming towards different things, so to speak, right? So Logan Webb, pressure, 100%. Logan Webb has the biggest pressure because he has to set the tone every fifth day. He has to be the stopper every fifth day. That's what your job as an ace is. You have to go out there. That has to be win day. Every day that he's on the mound, that has to be automatically for that clubhouse to think we are winning tonight, right? Because that is Logan Webb, your ace, that's your leader. So 100% big pressure on that. Now, going down the rest of the starting rotation, I would say Robbie Ray has big pressure on him because this is a contract year for him, regardless of what you want to say. If he's going to perform well this year, I feel like maybe his arm issues might sneak up on him at some point this year because he tallied a lot of innings last year. I don't know how sustainable that is, but we'll have to see. He's in a contract year. I think that's a lot of pressure on him, but also it's the trickle down effect, right? What was so successful, and I hate to keep bringing it back to the championship years because I think that was, it was such a special run and what they had in the rotation. But what is successful across baseball doesn't matter if it's the 2010, 2012, 2014 Giants. It doesn't matter if it's, any of these current teams in the last 5 years. What matters in a rotation is that there's a competition that you want to one up the guy that just went above you, or you want to pick him up, right? So I think that's why it goes from Logan Webb, and then it goes pressure to Robbie Ray, and then it goes just all the way down to Hauser, to Malley, and then to Landon Roop. Landon Roop also has pressure to build off of the success that he had last year, right? Hauser and Malley, I mean, they were brought in. Those were Buster's guys, right? I mean, those were the big signings of the offseason. So yeah, I mean, it has to be a well-oiled machine to where I think a lot of these guys have pressure, but I don't think it's bigger than anyone else on their shoulders than Logan Webb, because he is the leader. He has to go out there every fifth day. You figure, with the bullpen too, just you got to go out there and be effective. Like and depending on how good the rest of the rotation is, he might have the task of saying, I have to go out there and pitch 7 innings. I have to go out there and spell my guys in the bullpen. I have to go out there and reset everything. And there's a lot of pressure to put on your ace, but that's why you're the ace. That is the expectation.
It comes with the territory. When you are Logan Webb and you are the ace and you're making that amount of money, there's going to be pressure every single season. But the truth is, the rest of those guys, we don't know if they're going to be here the following season. Like that's the thing. Like, yes, Logan Webb is, there's pressure because he is Logan Webb. He's that fucking guy. Everybody else, Robbie Ray, contract years, you said, Walter, Tyler Malley and Adrian Hauser, like who knows, if they're going to be factors this season, who knows what their futures are with the Giants. And Landon Roop, to me, I think, has to prove himself, where I'm surprised he didn't get that third spot in the starting rotation. But then again, after the opening weekend, it really doesn't matter. But he's coming off an injury season where he had the bone bruise, where the ball came back and hit him in the knees. So he's got a lot to prove, and he's got to prove that, he could be part of this rotation, not just for right now, but for years to come, where he could be that guy in tandem with Logan Webb. But just another question to ask you guys. I brought it up earlier. Do you believe that the success of this season is predicated on Rafael Devers when they make a huge move like that? A season ago, after the offensive woes, where a while there, Wilmer Flores was your best hitter, and then you go out and get him. I remember that weekend they were playing the Dodgers. I think they were 1 game behind them in the standings for the NL West, and they beat them on Friday night in LA. They lose on Saturday, and then Sunday, right before the game starts, first pitch, we get all these transactions. It's announced that Rafael Devers is getting traded, and it's rare where Giants fans don't give a shit about a Giants-Dodgers game.
But I didn't give a damn about that game that day.
Exactly.
I didn't watch it at all, bro. I was just like, oh, screw this. We got Devers, bro. We can lose. I don't give a damn. That's how I felt.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's that's one of those rare times where it doesn't matter. You feel like you won because you got this all-star player. But after that, let's be real, the offense went through a rut itself, and then things got into their own as the season progressed. But it was too little, too late. Is everything predicated on the huge move they made a season ago? That's maybe why they didn't do as many moves this offseason. Do you think that the success of the 2026 Giants is predicated on Rafael Devers?
Walter, you know what? I'm just going to put it. I think it is Rafael Devers, 100%. I mean, he's
Mhm.
prolific in Boston. He's a great hitter. We know that. So he has to perform. He has to be.
Yeah.
And 30, like, I hate saying this, but 30 home runs, he has to get that.
That's the floor.
That's the, yeah,
that's the floor for him. Yeah.
That's the floor for him. He's that darn good. So he has to get into that close to 40 range, right? And the RBI numbers have to be there. He just has to be a consistent, rock solid. He has to be the consistent threat that every other team who plays the Giants goes, okay, we have to figure out how to deal with this guy, and whatever it is, whatever way we have to deal with him, we're going to have to deal. He's a problem. Arias is the other guy. I think this entire season is on those two guys' shoulders offensively. As Arias goes and as Devers goes, this team will go, because I think the pitching can be fine. It's just a question of, can Arias get on base, which we know he can. So can he do it in San Francisco? And can Devers smash home runs and doubles and all that kind of stuff? If they can do that, I think the rest of the lineup has plenty of protection throughout it and enough professional hitters on the team to deal with that. But if they do not have good seasons, this is going to be an issue.
Yeah, no, 100%. Now, and I would say, you know, in the same vein that I was talking about Logan Webb, I would say the same thing about Rafael Devers. He is the guy. Like that's what superstars do. You are here. You're being paid to be the guy. You are expected to be the guy. I mean, the magnitude of the trade, I don't think really factors into 2026. And also because you didn't really give up too much. Let's be honest. I mean, you got rid of prospects. You got rid of Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison no longer in Boston. He's with Milwaukee pitching. I think he's the fourth starter in Milwaukee. So and good for him. But you know, looking at Rafael Devers, I think that there is a lot of, because he was that guy in Boston, right? And I think the expectation is like you said, the expectation is for him to be the guy in San Francisco. So I would agree to that. I would agree with Rafael Devers having to show out. Luis Ariz is also interesting, and you know what I was talking about earlier was he's the veteran in the room. You know what I mean? Like he is expected to be the leader. I know we all look to like the position player side. Willie Adames, he's kind of the vocal leader, right? Like he's kind of the rah like cheerleader type. And then you got Matt Chapman, the lead by example. But Luis Ariz is also that type of leader of Matt Chapman. So I think that there is a lot of pressure on both of those guys, but I would lean more towards Rafael Devers just because he has to be that dude.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of veteran presence on this team now where you have Rafael Devers winning a World Series and Matt Chapman, his playoff experience. Willie Adames, we saw a year ago, wasn't hitting well, but as you said, Walter, he's that good like cheerleader in the dugout. And
you love him. Yeah, you love him. You can't hate the guy.
No, exactly. But that's another thing, too, is he cannot go off to a slow start. I know that's like the go-to thing with him where, well, he usually, you know, comes a little sluggish out the gate. That can't be the case this year because there's no excuses with the offense. They got to pick up the defense. They have to pick up the pitching and the bullpen. So Willie Adames, he needs he himself needs to be picked up by Rafael Devers and Luis Ariz. And Luis Ariz has his own experience in this league as a veteran. But all these veterans last year didn't mean anything when it came to their success. And it really is on the shoulders of a manager. And I thought that when they brought in Bob Melvin, it was going to be where it's the adult in the room. Because Gabe, let's be honest, nice guy, but he's just so fucking weird. And, you know.
He was. I mean, you put it bluntly, but yeah, he was a weird dude. Yeah.
He definitely was weird, and we definitely made fun of him in the Bay Area, and he just didn't fit. He just didn't fit coming off of Bochy.
No, yeah.
So that's why, like, I remember, like, God, who was that pitcher? Walter, one of his last remaining games. I want to say it was his last game as manager of the Giants because he was fired with I think 3 games left, where Kai Correa was filling in the last 3 games. Who was the pitcher that he was on the mound with? Playing grab ass with. When they were getting like totally just beaten down by the Dodgers.
Yeah, I don't remember who. I know I could see it. I don't remember who it was. I don't remember who it was.
I see the big beard, but yeah. So they bring in Bob Melvin.
Was it Brebbia? John Brebbia?
No, I don't think it was Brebbia, but I do like. I thought that Bob Melvin was going to be the guy that turns this team around, where you start seeing an ascending season, and then they get in the postseason, and then they build upon it. That never happened. It was the
Yeah.
same season, really back-to-back years, where a lot of questionable moves. I thought people kind of, unfairly criticized Bob Melvin at times because he's not a fiery personality. And let's be honest, like, that's not really a lot when it comes to baseball managers. Like, some of them scream and yell, all of them are not Tommy Lasorda or Lou Piniella, but you're not going to see that a lot. So moving on from him, I totally understand because he wasn't Buster Posey's guy. So they go to Tony Vitello. And this is a guy that I talked to Alon about because he watches a good deal of college baseball. And when they announced the move, I was like, okay, I don't know a lot about this guy, but he is a celebrity in his own way in, that field, that sport, where he's been on MLB Network. He's a really personable guy. He is a leader of men. He just never has coached at this level, and it's unique. It's something we've never seen before. We've seen it many times in, football and basketball, where guys go from the college ranks to the NFL, or, college ranks to the NBA. And some guys, it's clear that it's not for them. Like, even the best coaches, Alon's guy, Nick Saban, couldn't. I mean, like, he took the Miami Dolphins job and then realized it wasn't for him. And I'm not going to say that's going to happen with Tony Vitello, but when he does say things in spring training where it's like he's still kind of stuck in the past with Tennessee, I'm wondering, like, is he all in? He says he's all in, but let's see how the season goes. So just your thoughts, guys, because at this point we know the type of person he is. I mean, I got to interview him. He's a really nice guy, really down to earth. I think he's going to, have this team connected. But as far as a baseball manager, for the San Francisco Giants, just what do you think about the move, and how do you think this is going to go down in year one? Start with Walt.
So year one, I would say, the expectations for Tony Vitello is to be better than what you were last year. You know what I mean? Like, to go above 500. And I know my kid's like screaming right now. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
This is not a good sign. Christian's not a fan of.
He's not a fan of Tony Vitello. And to be honest, I wasn't really a big fan of the signing either, just because I didn't really know too much. Like, in the Bay Area, and myself, I'm a huge seam head, but I'm not like dialed into college baseball. You know what I mean? Like I knew who he was and all that kind of stuff, and I've seen the highlights, but I didn't really know what to expect. I was kind of, I was just like, who the hell is this guy? I know we had him on the show earlier in around draft time because the Giants drafted what's his name? I'm drawing a blank on who they drafted.
Yeah, I know you're talking about
the outfielder. Anyways, but
it wasn't Gilbert. It was the other guy. Yeah.
No, not Gilbert. It was I can't remember, but dude from Tennessee.
Yeah.
So we had him on, and I thought it was a great. We made it the hit of the week that week. I mean, I thought it was a great baseball conversation, right? Like, that was my takeaway. That was my experience of Tony Vitello. So, what's really interesting is when I was driving home today, I was thinking about Tony Vitello, and for some reason, I don't know if you guys get this sense at all, but do you feel like Tony Vitello's like low key Ted Lasso?
Yes.
I feel like he could be a variation of Ted Lasso.
No, dude, you were 100% right, because me and Coops talked about this before the press conference, or maybe after the press conference. He has that, I hate saying this word because it's so, it's overused these days, that aura about him where,
hell yeah,
I think that's what this is across sports. This isn't just like a baseball thing, or, I see it more in the NFL on where it's not so much like the authoritative guys anymore. It's guys that can relate to younger players and guys that don't beat you down but build you up with positivity. And I think that's what Tony Vitello is. Like, honestly, like you hit it on the head there, Walter, where yes, I do get Ted Lasso vibes from him. And I think that's what a lot of front offices are looking for these days. Where yes, you have to still be like, you can't be a competent football coach that coaches soccer, but like not like the leader of men, or like not like the literal, Ted Lasso, but a guy that connects with people on multiple levels. That's just more than off the field. So like we see in the NFL right now, coaches are getting younger because they want their coaches to relate to players. I think it's the same thing with Tony Vitello, where he related to his players on the college level. So can it be the same thing in the locker room with the Giants right now, where you guys have, where, there's guys making millions and millions of dollars? It will be the same thing, or will Rafael Devers kind of roll his eyes sometimes when this guy tells him what to do?
I hear you, Derek and Walter. I heard, I hear your points on this too. I think specifically this is the whole reason that Vitello was brought in is because, yeah, he's a great manager. He's the fastest ever to 300 wins in UT history. He was national champion. I mean, cannot say enough about his collegiate managerial career, and it was an absolute powerhouse there. I think they are building the team in the right way now. I think they've gotten veteran, kind of like Rafael Devers, who's a superstar. I think he'll be successful no matter who the manager is. I think Arias is another guy like that. So I think Vitello's brought in specifically to elevate these young players into superstars. Player development, you don't have that run of dominance that he had at Tennessee without having player development. I can think of a guy right now who's in the Padres minor league system, Kavares Tiers, who played for him at Tennessee for 2 or 3 years, who ended up being a World Series hero for them in the College World Series. And I remember seeing him during summer ball, and he would swing at everything. He developed him into a more disciplined hitter, a younger player who had all the tools, just needed to develop him. I've seen Tony Vitello do that. I've seen it with my own eyes. So I think that's why he was brought in. I think they will have a better season than they had last year. I don't think there's any question about that. I think they have built this team with the right kind of guys who don't need that kind of day-to-day motivation or coaching. They just go about their work because they're professionals, and then he can really focus on pouring into the younger guys there and elevating them. So I think that is the entire reason that he was brought in. So I think it's a slam dunk hire. And to me, it also signals from Buster Posey and the rest of the front office that they're committed to guys like Bryce Eldridge for the long term.
Yeah.
You bring in a guy like Tony Vitello to coach up a young 21-year-old like that when he eventually does make it to the show. So I think that it's twofold. They brought him in for stability, different energy, and to connect to these younger guys, like you're saying, Derek, like we see in the NFL. And they've put veterans on the team that he does not need to micromanage.
Yeah, and I think that, when we say Ted Lasso, I think he's going to be genuine. I don't think he's going to be, this guy that's phony. I do believe that he is the genuine article when he speaks, and he's going to be more passionate than some Bob Melvin press conferences a year ago. But yeah, I think this move is to counteract everything with the Dodgers, where they go out and they're aggressive with their spending, and people are pissed off to go get Kyle Tucker, but they do that. And you know what? They're entitled to do that because every team in baseball can do that. They just choose not to. And that'll turn to a whole thing this offseason where we talk about salary caps and whatnot. But yeah, I think it's the Giants' way and Buster Posey's way of saying we can't do it the same way. I can't convince these free agents to sign with me the same way that, the Dodgers can. So I need to build up my farm system. And the best way to do that, to evaluate talent, is to have a guy like Tony Vitello, who did coach in the college ranks. So yeah, I think that it's unique and it's fascinating to me. I think it's one of the bigger fascinating storylines of this MLB season. And we were talking about it the other day with Bob Costas when he came on the show, and he was like, the reason MLB teams haven't done this is because it's so different, college to professional baseball. Well, just think of the title. It's head coach in baseball in college. It's manager at the major league level. It's so different, and a lot of GMs really dictate how things go with your lineup these days. So I do wonder how much power Tony Vitello really has with the Giants right now. I think it's a collaborative effort between him, Buster Posey, and God, I'm blanking on the guys. Manassian, the GM of the Giants. But
yeah, Manassian.
But I do think this could pave the way for possible others if this goes well. And it's not going to be where this is like instant success this season. Who knows? If they make the postseason, you could see other teams hire college coaches to be managers at the major league level. But, like Pat Murphy with the Brewers, he coached in college, but he went out and to go be assistant at the major league level before he was promoted with the Brewers. So this is so unique. And I think that it could be something that we see more. But yeah, it's a gigantic risk for this franchise and the San Francisco Giants, 100%.
Yeah, I agree, man. Sorry, I was looking at stuff, but no, I agree.
What the hell are you looking at?
I was looking at everything. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see what, because I ended up going auto draft on my draft after a while. Trying to see what my team's looking like.
How's it look so far?
Looks all right. It looks okay.
By the way, the guy you were talking about too, Pat H. helps us out here. Galvin Klein.
I saw, Gavin
Or
Keelan.
Gavin Klein. Oh,
Gavin
Keelan.
Keelan.
Jesus.
Keelan. Yeah.
I can't read.
Sorry.
He said Klein, and then he went to Keelan. So
He did, yeah.
Yeah, Gavin Keelan.
Calvin
Keelan.
Klein.
Calvin, yep.
That
Another elite, yeah.
That was on my mind. So yeah, it's going to be very unique with Tony Vitello, and he definitely has some help. Obviously, we brought up Ron Washington and Chase Tingler and Bochy's, part of the organization along with Dusty Baker. There's going to be a lot of expectations, with him having this job and the way that we reacted to things when he was talking in spring training about. When did you guys know I was going from, Tennessee to the Giants? That he brought that up unprompted. It's kind of a weird situation, but I do believe he's all in. And you heard Logan Webb talk about it last night. He brings a passion and energy that hasn't been in, the Giants locker room for quite some time, clubhouse, I should say. So we'll see what happens here with Vitello, but I do think it's trending in the right direction. So just to kind of end things with the Giants talk, and we can go into more broader MLB predictions here. What is your final prediction for this season, Walter? What are your expectations for this season as far as how the Giants finish?
I mean, my expectations remain the same. I expect them to finish better than what they finished last year. So they finished 81-81 last year. I expect them to finish above that. How high? I would like to see 5 to 6 games. So we're talking 86, 87 wins. But I don't think that that's a playoff team. I just want to see improvement, especially on the core of guys that they currently have with Willy Adames. But I do think a full year of Rafael Devers does bode well for this Giants team, and I feel like that can possibly get them into the postseason. But when you look at all the other teams in the National League, man, I mean, are they better than the Padres? Like, I'm not even going to talk about the Dodgers. Are they better than the Cubs are probably going to win the Central? Are they better than the Brewers? Are they better than the Reds? I mean, you just go down. Are they better than anyone in the National League East? Not named the Marlins. Like that's a huge question mark. So I would say that my expectation is for them to finish better than what they were last year, to play with more energy, right? I mean, you were talking about Bob Melvin and the big hire for him, and I was optimistic, and I think we just needed a breath of fresh air from Gabe Kapler, and that we did want an adult in the room, but we didn't want a senior citizen. You know what I mean? Like that's what I thought we got with Bob Melvin was, we had to check his pulse sometimes. Like, are you still with us, Bob? So that's a little bit of a different thing with Tony Vitello coming over. So I want to see more energy. I want to see more passion to be a Giant. So yeah, 80, 85, 86, 87. But I'd probably slot them in there like 86 wins and just missing out on the playoffs.
Okay, real quick, Alon, is that a successful season though to you, Walter?
Ooh.
Is 86 wins a successful season to me?
Yes.
It depends how they get there.
Yeah.
It depends how they get there. If they are constantly a good looking team and they get to 86, then I would like it. But if they just get hot like at the back end of the season, I wouldn't like that at all.
Okay.
and also it depends on how they look against their own division, what their division record is. I would factor that in more heavily as well. How they look against playoff teams, right? I mean, this first month of the season, I don't know if you guys have looked at the schedule. First month of the season is a freaking gauntlet, dude. Like that is going to be put on your big boy pants type month for the Giants. So we're gonna know real quick, and you don't want to make assumptions and judgments off of the first month of the year, but we're gonna know pretty quickly what this Giants team is made of right out the gate.
Yeah, just to go through the schedule real quick, they obviously open up against the Yankees, then they go to San Diego, then they play the Mets, they play the Phillies. In Baltimore, I know a season ago, they didn't have a great record, but they made improvements this offseason, and they play the Reds. So right away, we'll know how good this Giants team is. And again, you can't gauge it that early, but that's a gauntlet, as you said, Walter. So in your opinion, Alon, what are your expectations for the Giants, and is it postseason or bust for their success?
Yeah, I actually think it's not postseason or bust, but it is being in contention, like real contention. So I'm pretty much in accordance there with Walter. I think it's real contention for a postseason spot is what dictates success, especially with a first year manager at this level. The gauntlet, like you said, Derek, it is. I mean, New York, San Diego, the Mets, Philly, Baltimore, Cincinnati. I mean, you first cupcake you really get is Miami, and that's at the end of April. So
Yeah.
that's a long way away, and you could bury yourself in a hole here early if you do not start out well. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the ceiling is about 87-ish wins, right around there. And just because that's the ceiling doesn't mean they can't get there. I think they could get there, but I think 84, 85 wins is pretty realistic. I think the floor, and this is without catastrophic injuries all over the place, would be about 79-ish wins. And that would be mostly because of inexperience due to the managerial position, even though managers don't have to do as much as they used to in the past. But I think a successful season for them is 3 or 4 wins better than what they were last year and real contention. And I will disagree with Walter on one thing. If they do bury themselves in a little bit of a hole here early because of the tough schedule to start off the season, and they start playing catch up towards the end and they go on a run, I think that could be good if it means they're in contention, whether that's in their own division. That means the Dodgers have scuffled somehow during the season, or a wild card spot. But yeah, I think it's all about them having the realistic possibility of clinching a wild card spot. And if that is realistic with 2-3 weeks left in the season, I think we're talking about a good year for the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're improved, obviously, in their lineup. It's just they've taken a real back seat when it comes to their pitching. And that's the thing where I'm like, I don't know how that's going to look. And also, we talked about Tony Vitello and all the positivity he's going to bring, but at the same time, he's learning how to do this. He could be, schooled by a lot of managers in Major League Baseball when it comes to him learning things on the fly. So with that in mind, I do think they improve. I think they're anywhere from 84 wins to 88 wins, but I don't think that's enough to get you in the postseason. And I know you can make the argument that maybe they could be better than the Padres or the Diamondbacks, but I don't think that's a possibility. And the teams that you mentioned, Walter, yes, the National League is loaded right now, and all you're asking for is just to sneak in as that third wildcard team. But I think that's an uphill battle at this point. And could it be where the team looks a certain way for the majority of the season, and it's clear that they need to improve on the pitching, and you'll probably address that at the at the trade deadline? Yes. It could look a certain way where you feel good about this team going forward. But let's be real. Giants fans have been starved for this team to be relevant again. And if they don't make the postseason, yes, I think that across the board, a lot of fans would say it's a failure, regardless of how it looks. So that's just the double-edged sword you got there, where you have, this team that's learning with a new leader, but at the same time, there's just so much expectations in this market where Giants fans go crazy for Giants baseball. So I think we all are on the stage of the season. And let me know if I'm crashing out here on my connection. Everything all good?
I got you a little bit.
Guys.
I got you a little bit. Yep, I got you.
I could be totally delayed here.
I got you.
Yeah, we still hear you, Derek.
Yeah.
Is breaking up a little bit.
Okay, all
I
right.
mean, kinda. Yeah.
Sorry,
there you are.
My Vakakta fucking internet connection here.
You got to get that Google Fiber, Derek.
Yeah, bro.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, it's still breaking up.
Still breaking up.
I'll let you fix it there for a second. Are you I think Derek might be trying to play some audio or something. So I do have a question for you there, Walter. Yeah, you're frozen again. Okay, move it a little bit. But
I'm frozen.
Yep, go ahead. No, you're good now.
Now you're good. I've been pretty consistent on
now?
this. Yeah, you are. I've been pretty consistent on this podcast as well as a few of the other shows about, I think the Giants are better than the Diamondbacks, and I think they could be right there with the Padres. Do you think that's realistic? I mean, the Dodgers are the clear-cut number one in the NL West, but I really do think that the Giants kind of natural slot, and they could exceed it, would be third in the division, maybe right there with the Padres, who, in my opinion, would be second.
Yeah, I think it's a lot closer than what people think right now with who's playing second in the National League West. If you look at the Bakota standings, I was looking at it actually a little earlier or yesterday. They have the Giants slotted as the second team in the National League. Now they have them at 83 wins, but they do have them they have the Dodgers at 103 for those who wanted to know. But the Giants are there as the number 2 team. Number 3 team I think it was the Padres. The Padres, it's really interesting because as we were talking about earlier, Derek brought it up. They still have solid talent on that team, right? They may not have the arms, the horses like they once did, but I do think that they're still going to be pretty effective and pretty competitive in that regard. Now, the Diamondbacks, I feel like the Diamondbacks are actually a better team than the Padres at this time. I think that their pitching will be improved from last year. And I have to go back and remember how long is Corbin Carroll still injured? Is he out?
I thought he actually came back in spring training. I read the other day.
I thought he did too. So, I mean, a lot of the success of that team depends on what Corbin Carroll can do. So that roster, I think, can compete. And their pitching, I mean, I have to go back and look when Corbin Burns is coming back because I don't know when that's going to be a thing. That's also the kind of thing that you're looking at with like Atlanta, like Schollenbach. He's supposed to be coming back from Tommy John surgery at some point. A lot of these pitchers that I noticed when I was doing my fantasy draft, a lot of these pitchers had Tommy John last year, or they had some type of elbow or shoulder contusion or injury or whatever. But going back to the National League West, I would say that the Giants are right there on par with all of them. It's not too big of a separation, but it's all the intangibles of all those other teams. What they have is what the Giants don't. And I feel like that could be where it separates. And I'm talking about what we talked about earlier, the speed on the base paths. Diamondbacks reinvented the freaking wheel. I was like, why aren't the Giants playing like that? You know what I mean? Like, I want the Giants to play like how the Brewers played last year, is get the ball in play and steal bases. Like, I need to see that type of roster for the Giants to kind of take that next level. And then you go to the bullpen. I just don't know how good the Giants bullpen will hold up. And that's also, I'm concerned because of my lack of confidence in the rotation. I feel more comfortable with all those other teams' rosters, their intangibles of what they can do on the base paths, their bullpen. I just have a lot more confidence in them than I would with the Giants currently on paper. But I do think that the Giants have it's not a far margin. It's not a far margin.
Well, let's go through it real quick. Let's go through each division and pick them real quick as we make our predictions for the MLB season. And I think we don't need to pick the NL West because I think we all know where we're going there. I think the Dodgers. I mean, does anybody else think differently?
The
Rockies. Yeah. So I was going to say the one team I was like, yeah, the Dodgers. You know, I think they're definitely above that 4th spot, and I didn't even mention the 5th spot because I was like, well, we know that. Yeah,
right. Yeah, they're an afterthought in that division. So let's go to the NL Central. What do you guys think this season?
Central, I'd probably just to keep it short, I'd go to Cubs. I talked about them earlier. I think that their addition of Bregman is going to be pretty big for them. So I think offensively they're going to be really good. I think their pitching staff is pretty solid as well. So I'm going to go with the Cubbies.
Alon?
Same Cubs, but Pirates possible wild card contender.
Pirates could be a sneaky pick. Honestly, I mean, I got to go back and look at where Jared Jones is at in his recovery because he got hurt early last year too. So I mean, the Pirates have pitching, man. Like that's the one thing. If you have pitching in baseball, that'll carry you a long way. They didn't do anything to improve their offense. And just going back to the other contenders in the National League Central, the the Brewers, I mean, trading away Freddie Peralta, I think is going to hurt them. You know, I feel like their starting rotation, talking about the importance of pitching, I feel like that rotation is still pretty good, but without Peralta, I mean, you're stressing a lot on your bullpen and that offense to carry you through that division. Now, it is the Central, so you get to play, you know, the Pirates, you get to play the Reds, and you get to play all these subpar teams. So it could balance out. But yeah, I think it's definitely the Cubs division to lose.
I would agree. Point. I think we got a clean sweep there. We're all going Chicago for the NL Central. Okay, what about the NL East? That's its own gauntlet in that division.
Yeah. You want to start, Elaine?
Yeah, also, I keep going back and forth here between the Mets and the Phillies, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. So, like Freddie Peralta, who was just brought up in the last topic we were just talking about right now, like, yeah, the Mets are really strong, but I'm going to go Phillies. I think Bryce Harper is going to have an MVP-esque season this year.
Yeah.
I think he's really going to have an amazing 2026, and I just don't have confidence in the Mets. I think the Mets are still going to make the playoffs. I just think they're going to be the second best team in that division.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the East is really interesting, man, because everyone's looking at the Mets and everyone's looking at the Phillies.
Yeah.
Right now on paper, I'd probably go with the Mets. But don't sleep on the Braves, man.
Yeah.
The Braves are still a team in that division. They got ravished with injuries last year to where they had and I foresaw them falling off of a cliff last year. I could see the Braves coming back with their starting pitching. I mean, I mentioned Schollenbach. He's supposed to come back maybe in June. I think it's his timetable, but they still have Chris Sale. They still have Strider. They got Ronaldo Lopez. I mean, they got a lot of starters there. And their offense is pretty decent as well. You got Ronald Acuna. I mean, it's gonna be pretty interesting in that division. But I wouldn't sleep on the Braves right now. If I'm picking, I'd go the Mets. But dark horse in that division, definitely the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, I mean, right now, a lot of people are going between the Mets or the Phillies or even the Braves. I'll go with the Mets. I think they're the best team on paper right now. But then again, they're the Mets. I hear what Alon is saying, where they usually disappoint. But I think a year ago, with how their season ended, where they were that close of making that third wild card spot and went to the Reds ultimately, I do think that, yeah, like, you know, like the early in the post or the offseason, they saw a lot of guys leave, like Edwin Diaz went to the Dodgers, and they did get Freddie Peralta. But I do think that they're the best team on paper right now. So I'm going with the Mets. Yeah. And as far as the wild card teams, who you guys got? Your three wild card teams in the National League.
Oof. Just to keep it short, I think everyone else in the National League East. I think it's gonna be you know, whoever wins the division is gonna get in, obviously. So let's say I got the Mets winning it. I think the Braves are gonna get in there. I think that the Phillies are gonna get in there, and then that final spot, I would probably, if I was to bet on it right now, because of the strength or the lack thereof of their division, I'd probably go the Braves. Or I'm sorry, the Brewers.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
I'm actually going the same as you, Walter, where I think that all those teams are strong. We've seen it in recent years. It's usually the same teams making the postseason these days in the National League. So, yeah, I would go Phillies. I would go Brewers. I'm going Braves. Wouldn't be the least bit surprised, though, if the Diamondbacks edge one of those teams out to get that final spot, though.
I could see that.
Yeah, I would say the second place and third place teams in the NL East. I think you can lock that. So however those top three teams, however it shakes out, they're all going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
in that division. I'm going to say the Giants are going to have a magical season and get that last wild card spot, and they will get it. They're going to get it with 88 wins.
Ooh,
okay,
88.
All right.
That's a hefty number. There
you go, Alon. All right, and what do you guys think about the AL? Let's go with the AL East. Pretty good division. We saw the Toronto Blue Jays, Walt's Jays. Walt also has a favorite AL team.
My Jays, yeah.
So do the Blue Jays repeat, Alon, or do we see? Or sorry, let's start with Walter here. Do the Blue Jays Repeat? Yes. Okay. So you already decided you're going Blue Jays.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for this question. Go Jays.
There you go. Dylan Cease joins the team, and it's a repeat of last year where they go to the.
I
the
hate
World
that signing.
Series.
I hate that signing so much. But no, yeah, I think the Blue Jays are gonna be a force in the East and in the AL for sure this year. So yeah, I'm going Jays.
All right, Alon, what do you think?
I go Yankees. I mean, I almost go Yankees every year in the AL East, but this year, I mean, I really do think that they're basically the same as they were last year. So I think that's still a 95-ish win team, and I think that wins them the division. And I think the Blue Jays. It'll be interesting to see how things are now. Sans Bo Bichette, but I think the Blue Jays are right there too. But I think the Yankees win the division.
Yeah, I think that it's a toss-up between the Blue Jays and Yankees, and I'll just give the edge to the Yankees because they have slightly more talent, with just having Judge and Juan Soto. Not Juan Soto. Who am I thinking of? Other guy on the team, Walter.
Who? Aaron Judge?
Not Aaron Judge. Giancarlo
Yankees?
Stanton.
Oh yeah, Giancarlo Stanton. Yeah. I think he's gonna have a big year this year.
Giancarlo.
Yeah.
Giancarlo. Yeah.
Mike Stanton.
What?
And Cody Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger too. He used to go by Mike. You didn't know that?
Yes,
Mike Stanton.
Yes, he did. Yes, you are right about that. And then you got Chaz Chisholm, and the pitching might be. Yeah, I mean, like when is Garrett Cole actually supposed to be back?
I think the aim is for June, but I'm not entirely sure. I should know that. He's on my fantasy team, but I'm not entirely sure when he comes back.
I think
like mid-season.
Yeah, I think you're right on that because his Tommy John happened. Yeah,
like second week of the year last year, I thought.
Yeah, so he's got like maybe a month and a half to 2.5 months left of real recovery before he can get out there and go. So probably maybe middle of June.
Yeah, so I got the Yankees and I got the Blue Jays, one of my wild card teams, and I got maybe some other AL East teams making the postseason as well. But AL Central, I'll start there. I'll go. I'm taking the Tigers. Just get in Framber and team him up with Skubal now, like. That's just their pitching is going to be off the charts. So I'm taking the Tigers.
Yeah, I'll go Tigers also. Pitching reigns supreme. I think that the Royals will give them a run for their money, 100%. But when you look at everybody on that starting rotation, you talk about Skubal and Framber and Flaherty and Casey Mize and now Justin Verlander going back there for his probably final season. I don't know how long he's going to be how long he's going to be pitching, but I think that rotation is actually pretty solid. 1 through 5, which you can't really say that anymore in Major League Baseball. So yeah, I'm going to go with Tigers.
I'm Tigers as well. So straight across the board, they could be one of the scariest teams in the entire league if they can figure out how to hit. So like if Torkelson and Baez and guys like that can actually have good seasons at the. That's a tough team because the pitching is going to be on lock. So they could be very scary if they end up being offensively powerful in any capacity.
Well, there you go. Meow. We're all in agreement there. The Tigers are winning the AL Central. You like that one, Walter, huh?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, AL West. Is anybody going differently than Mariners?
No. I mean, no, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, then yeah, I mean, almost making it to the World Series a year ago, but
don't sleep on the A's. Don't sleep on the A's now.
Yeah, some people are making them their sneaky pick. I don't think they have enough pitching. Offensively,
I think their offense is pretty good. Yeah, I think their offense is actually pretty good, but yeah, you're going to give up 10 runs a game, so you're going to have to score 11. I don't know if they can do that consistently.
No, definitely not. So as far as the wild card teams, I'll give you guys mine. Going with the Blue Jays, going with the Red Sox. The last one's tough. I like the additions the Orioles made this offseason, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. I'll go with the Royals making the postseason.
Interesting. My wild card teams for the American League will be the Yankees for sure, being the number one team because the Jays win the East. Just had to throw that out there one more time. And then I will go with probably the Royals as getting in there as a wild card team. And Houston. I'll go Houston Astros. I think that they'll get in there. I think that they're the forgotten team that everyone just is discounting, kind of similar to the Braves I think they're going to show everybody what they are and what they still are this year.
Alon's in agreement.
I am with Houston for sure. So yeah, I think we're going to see, it's very similar. I think we're going to see the two second place teams out of the East. So I think we're going to see Toronto and the Bo Sox, and then my third team is going to be Houston Astros, just because, I mean, they missed the wild card by a game, and they had Yordan Alvarez for like 45 games all year. They were torched by injuries. I mean, it was horrible. So that's not, I don't think that's going to happen again. They're going to be pretty damn good. I don't think they can be competitive with Seattle for the division, but they're not going to win the division. But I think they are going to be a wild card team.
And lastly here, just as far as awards, I feel like these MLB writers don't have any creativity these days. So I think they just give it to the same guys every year. Is there any argument to anybody besides, as far as the AL and NL MVPs, Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani?
Yeah, I think so for the NL. For NL, I think so.
Who?
You don't think you're talking about this upcoming season, right?
Yes.
You don't think Bryce Harper can win an MVP?
I think he's capable of it. I just think that, like listening to like Buster Olney on his podcast, he just kind of makes like a foregone conclusion where it's like he pitches and he hits, so he's going to win MVP every single year.
Well, yeah, and that's where I was going to say too. As long as Shohei Ohtani is on the mound and hitting at the tick that he does, that if he gets 50 home runs, I've always said, I mean, what was it? Shohei Ohtani was rattling off MVPs in the American League like he was Barry Bonds, right? And what stopped it? It was a historic season from Aaron Judge. So if someone else is going to take that title away from Shohei Ohtani, then someone else in the National League has to, and maybe Bryce can do it. Maybe Bryce hits 64 home runs this year. I don't know. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take something historic to take away from Shohei Ohtani, in my opinion.
I think there's also a pitcher I totally, Shohei Ohtani is a unicorn, right? So it's his award to lose because of everything he can do. I think there's one pitcher who super low percentage of it happening because it'd be very difficult, but Paul Skeens, he could double up.
MVP.
He could be Cy Young MVP. I mean, it would be a legendary season we're talking about, but that could happen. So yeah, I mean, Shohei Ohtani, Bryce Harper maybe is that second guy. If there has to be a second guy, and the third guy I would say is Paul Skeens.
Was Verlander the last guy to do that, to win an MVP?
I think it's Kershaw.
I think it's
Clayton. Kershaw.
Yeah.
Was it Clayton Kershaw?
Yeah. It's very rare and it's extremely rare for a reliever. I know Dennis Eckersley won AL MVP back in the day. Yeah. And even like Cal Raleigh, like having a all-time season for a catcher a season ago, not good enough to get AL MVP. And the same thing applies, I think, with Cy Young. Is anybody winning these things in the AL and NL besides Paul Skeens and Terry Skubal?
Logan Webb.
You think so?
I think this is the year for Logan Webb. I think that everything has been gearing towards, and this isn't me being a homer, it's just me reading the room. I think that he has the attention of the national media, and last year's strikeout total, if he's able to build on that, paired with getting more wins, because I think the Giants will get more wins for him because the offense is going to be more productive. I don't think that equates to them being a playoff team, but if they're winning majority of the games that he's out there, and I know wins isn't really like a category that gets you the Cy Young anymore. It's not what it used to be. Yeah. But if you pair that with the strikeout total, with his ground ball rate, I think that it's pretty, and if he leads the National League in innings pitched again, I think that's a huge case for him. Obviously, going back to Elaine's point, with Paul Skeens, I just don't think that Skeens will get the wins to get the MVP, but I think that he'll have overall numbers to obviously be in the conversation for the Cy Young. But I wouldn't sleep on Logan Webb. I think that this is the year. I think it's pointing towards that.
Alrighty.
I think both guys are both in the NL West for guys that could compete for that. I think Logan Webb, totally agree with Walter on that. I think the other is Yamamoto. So
Yeah.
I think that's the other guy that could come in and kind of usurp that position and be like, hey, this is my Cy Young year here, especially because he's gonna get wins.
Oh,
that's not gonna be a problem. So Logan Webb and Yoshinobu Yamamoto would be the two guys to watch out for. I think maybe to take that award.
All right, and lastly, guys, before we get out of here, just World Series predictions.
Ooh, Jesus. I will go. You know what? I'm gonna go with a West Coast World Series. I'm gonna go Seattle Mariners versus the freaking Dodgers, and the Mariners get it done because F them. You know what I mean?
F them indeed, Walter. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Alon, your thoughts?
I want to pick a wild card team from the AL so bad, but it's going to be the Dodgers, and I think that I'm probably going to go Yankees. I want to pick the Astros, but I just don't know if they can make it that far. I think they can make the playoffs, but I just don't think they can make it through the divisional and then all that other stuff and the CS. So yeah, we're going to get Dodgers Yankees rematch with no Aaron Judge errors in the outfield, and maybe the Yankees win it all.
Hey, you never know. Tatsuya Imai might light fire and carry the Astros to the ALCS. You never know what could happen.
Yeah, never know. And Yordan Alvarez could hit 58 home runs.
That is true.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think the Yankees are going to get beat up in their own division, even though I got them winning the division in the AL East. I just don't think they're going to get that number 1 seed, probably the 3 seed. I think the Seattle Mariners will be that top seed in the AL. So I'm going to go with them, and I like Walter's pick. I think a lot of people are picking this World Series matchup. I'll go with Dodgers Mariners as well. And this is where everybody turns on me in the chat.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, it's
Don't
a three-peat. It's a three-peat.
Oh, no. God.
Mm-hmm.
We're going Jordan Bulls, huh? We're going.
Tell me otherwise, dude.
Going Yankees from the 90s.
I know it sucks, but god damn it, they make these fucking moves.
You know what sucks is that half of their roster will probably still get hurt again, and they'll still end up in the World Series.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter. We're like they're kind of doing the Warriors thing where they don't need to have a 110 win season. Nope. They just go win 88 games.
We'll get in with 95. You know what I mean? We'll get in with 90, and we'll run the table.
Exactly.
So infuriating.
All right, everybody, that's all I got for tonight, man. You guys excited for tomorrow?
Oh yeah, dude. How can you not be? It's going to be amazing. I wish I was in the city for that.
Dude, I'm excited. It's like the first day of school. I got my hair cut and gonna get my my fresh shoes with the light up shoes going. You know, I'm ready, man. I'm ready for the first day of school tomorrow. It's fun.
Fresh new loose leaf and everything. He's got a new backpack. Walter's ready for school, baby.
Real quick, for everybody that's watching from Rounding Third and King, just remember tomorrow we're gonna be doing a contest giveaway. $25 gift card for Frankie's Java House. We're going to be at the ballpark, so look for me running around rounding Third and King. We're going to do some trivia, and the location is TBD, but just to let you know, it's probably going to be close to Frankie. So you guys just look for me out there. $25 gift card. We're going to play Name That Giant, so it's going to be fun.
Big Jeremy Outfield.
Just throwing down names. Big things going down on Walter's podcast, Rounding Third and King, and make sure you guys watch that podcast. Walter does a great job breaking things down with everything with the San Francisco Giants. And then there's our podcast, me and Alon, Just Your Opinion, man. We are usually on Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesdays at 7:15 and Sundays at 11. And we kind of just cover everything, sports related. We talk some baseball. Mainly, it's a lot of NFL stuff, and we'll do that this weekend, talking about Jackson Smith-Njigba's contract and what's going on with Puka Nacua. Good Lord. But we'll get to that on Sunday. But, Walter, always great to catch up with you, my man. I'll see you tomorrow at the ballpark. Alon, I'll see you Sunday.
Oh, yeah. And, hey, Walter, thanks, man. That was awesome. It was fun to talk baseball for nearly hours.
Yeah, dude. No, likewise. It was a fun time. I would love to do it again whenever you guys need me.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right, thanks to everybody in the chat tonight. I usually say everybody in the chat, but there's a lot of people, so I'll just say thanks to everybody. Thanks to all the opiners out there. Thanks to all the, what do you call your fan base, Walter?
I don't know.
Kings?
We're still figuring it
The
out.
Kingmen.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the Short Kings. That's what we'll call them. The Short Kings. That's a good one. I didn't even think about that. They used to be the Pastimers, but we're still thinking of a new name.
Well, yeah, I like the Short Kings a lot. Everybody I enjoy you guys coming on or jumping on the chat and watching this podcast. A little the Jetsons meet the Flintstones. Hopefully we'll do it more, and we'll see you guys next time. Alon, why don't you close us out here with what we usually say in our podcast?
Hey, you guys might think that the A's have no chance of winning the AL West, but that's just your opinion, man.